Beautiful souls. I hope you guys are having a beautiful Sunday. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Let me make sure that we are all set up here. All righty. Let's get started. All right. So today, first of all, I want to thank you guys for joining me yesterday. It was a really, really beautiful class. We did a group hypnotherapy, and yeah, it was really interesting working with the 24 dimensions of the body in order to understand, what are the new waves of frequency that are coming in through the body up to the 24th dimension. And so, of course, we want to continue that practice daily. And one of those things is moving karmic energy in the body. So that's something that we want to do continuously and consciously. It's the invitation, of course, because um, I mentioned that whatever we are creating with our words, the words that we speak, the thoughts that we think, our intentions, all of that is creating constantly. And so, if we're creating from a place of confusion, distortion, inversion, manipulation, this is where we start to create suffering for ourselves and for others. So, it's important to understand very clearly, to sit and understand what is your intention behind the things that you're doing, so you can know, what you're creating and why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So this is something that we want to work on. And in addition to that, I want to combine this concept of clearing karmic work, karmic contracts with the morphogenetic field, because the connection between that is tremendous. Now, as we move into these deeper frequencies coming into the new year, we're going to be expanding our range of frequency that we have access to. And so that can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming because if we have a lot of stagnant energy in the body, as I mentioned, it's really difficult to process these frequencies, these much higher frequencies. And when you have a being that is a low frequency, lower frequency, and your environment becoming higher frequency, there's always a disconnect. This disconnect can cause a couple things. First of all, we become overwhelmed energetically, and if we are not grounded, which is the majority of the cases that we don't ground in the body, and we disassociate. So a lot of people are going to want to disassociate from the body. They don't want to feel, they don't want to know, they don't want to sense what is happening, that discomfort. It becomes uncomfortable because there's a contrast and because we haven't sat and got to know ourselves. So when I say get to know yourself, it also means be familiar with the ranges of frequencies. What are frequencies? Emotions. Okay, so when we talk about emotional fragility, basically we are completely disconnected from our true thoughts or through emotions or through intentions, and that disconnect causes a dissonance, cognitive dissonance with, we don't really understand why we're feeling the way we're feeling or how to change it. That lack of awareness is going to cause tension, confusion, feelings of overwhelm, and essentially that contrast will either we will revert to the basic survival mechanisms, which is fight, fight this experience in resistance, flight or freeze, right? We want to get out of the body, we want to disconnect. And the disconnection of the body is one of the less desirable states of being in these coming years. Okay, so we don't want to disassociate from the body as much as possible. We want to be grounded in the body. So today in SLS, I want to talk about how we can actually allow ourselves to feel comfortable in the physical body, how to really feel comfortable in the body, allow yourself to ground fully in the body, and work with those very specific thought forms that we have where we want to check out and we don't want to feel, we don't want to experience something. We have to work lovingly with these thought forms and help the body, help the mind, help ourselves really incorporate in the body. Now, in yesterday's class, we talked about how higher dimensional planes, higher dimensions of the body, every dimension has a dualistic nature within the 13 main dimensions, all the way up to the 24th. But as we go up higher and higher after the 24th, you're already coming into more unity consciousness from 20 and up, 18, 19, around the higher dimensions. You're already coming into more unity consciousness. And it's no longer about just myself and the other. And so that's a really powerful realization, because your perception begins to change how you incorporate your life force, how you manage your energy, how you allocate your creative life force and potential begins to change, until you begin to access that understanding or touch those levels of awareness. Everything might be very dualistic for you, very separate. Okay. And so in these higher levels, like 11, 12, 13, we are housing fractal nature of the lower chakras at higher octaves every time. So in the root chakra for safety, you're talking about, how you can actually embody the higher self at the higher octave is the connection, the integration of the higher self. And if you don't integrate the higher self, we have this disconnect from the physical body. So we want to heal the root, and the root is in your body. The root is in the physical experience. A lot of people think that the root is going to be somewhere out in a past life or out in the field or out in a higher dimensional plane. The root is in your body, and the actual alchemical change happens when you make those changes in the now, in the here, in the creative process of your life, of your co-creation process, where we are continuing to play out disharmony. We want to go into disharmony, we experience disharmony, and we're confused about how to embody harmonic order. We don't know how to anchor that. We don't know how to feel into that. And that's a series of trauma, disassociation, many reasons that we're not really fully able to ground into the human experience. And so these are things that we want to be mindful of, because they can make your meditation practice very challenging. It can be very difficult for us to sit still in meditation. It can be difficult for us to sit with the emotions. The emotions can be so overwhelming that we don't want to feel them. We don't know how to feel them. And they can feel like they can completely take over your experience. So the invitation is really that we begin to learn, first of all, how to build bioelectrical conductivity by expanding your range of emotional, ability to feel and process emotions. And that happens through your shadow work, because I can guarantee that through your shadow work of your own life, even if you have a unique life to another person, you will touch all the range of emotional frequencies, especially the negative ones, particularly because most of us, we actually don't know the higher range emotions, because of the construct in which we live, and the way that conditioning and social engineering is inputting these ideas of survival into us. So we're quite familiar with survival emotions, right? Fears, anxieties, doubts, all kinds of emotions that keep us in separation. And so when we talk about unity emotions, compassion, love, love not as just an emotion, but as an entire state of being, a state of awareness, a state of creation. These are things that we're less familiar with in this world, unfortunately. And again, we are incrementally increasing the octave of each of these emotions as well, right? So, and this is what is happening as we enter into this new era. We're increasing the octave of compassion. Okay, so there's many levels, and let me explain. It's first, you have compassion for a plant or an animal. You have a compassion for a human, which can be more complex. It can be more difficult to have compassion for the human than it is to have for an animal, right? And then the next is to have compassion for yourself. So you might notice where you have a difficult time, and then the next is to have compassion for the human race, all humans, not just certain groups or certain specific loved humans, but all humanity in all of their diversity and all of their expression, whatever that may be. And so, in this way, how we become more conductive is that you expand your range of that emotion. And compassion is an excellent example because it's an emotion that is it's all encompassing. Okay, but so are other emotions, and we need to learn that. We don't really know that until we start to get familiar with these subconscious belief systems of separation that we have. We might not discover that we are not necessarily very compassionate for a certain group of people. And those levels of behavior, we have to understand that when we don't feel compassion for a certain group of people, you're not feeling compassion for a certain part of yourself because we are not separate, we are one. And so incrementally, we are learning, we are teaching ourselves once again the concept of oneness, of being a one organism of consciousness. All the human race is a one organism of consciousness. And how can we embody that? How can we integrate that into our everyday life with our children, with our family, busy careers and projects that we're working on. These are the necessary changes. And why are they necessary? A couple reasons. When we talk about ascension, everything is moving into a higher octave. And if you don't go along with this higher octave, you're going to start feeling a lot of resistance, a lot of contrast, a lot of difficulty integrating these more expansive states, because what that means, let me put that in complete layman terms, things are going to feel more overwhelming, they're going to feel stronger, they're going to feel with more weight on you. Okay, so that's what happens. So when a body is a low frequency and your environment is higher frequency, it feels really heavy in the body. Why? Because you're feeling that high frequency is highlighting, it's really making you feel all of the contraction and stagnation that you're holding inside the body. And so that contraction and stagnation that you have in the body is what will come up, because it'll be the one that's not fitting in this environment collectively. Okay, so everybody has their own process of evolution. There's no right or wrong, there's no end or beginning to this process. As I mentioned, this is a never-ending evolutionary experience of growth and experience. And the key is to be as compassionate with this beautiful vessel as possible, because when your body is in a constant state of suffering and stress and anxiety every single day, that you can't do what you came here to do, that is a confusion. Okay, and so our perception becomes distorted. So how do you know that you are not in alignment with things? Is that your perception becomes distorted, your purpose becomes confused, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And that is a lot of people right now, because we're going through these changes. If you were in harmony with this energetic, let me simplify, with nature, if you were in harmony with nature, if you're in harmony with the natural flow, the ebb and flow of life, the changes in that energy of the Wu Wei, which is the giving and receiving of universal energies, you would know what you're here to do, because you can't enter and release and receive and release these universal energies if you're not cultivating a certain state of awareness. And that certain state of awareness is helping you understand carefully, mindfully, what the body is needing along the way, every step along the way. So in this case, the invitation is to become lighter and lighter and lighter energetically. So clear the densities that are causing you to feel a disconnect in your environment. Okay, and so for that, we have to be okay with being in the body. And for a lot of people, this very common theme that I hear is like, I don't belong here. I don't want to be in the body. I don't feel like I can relate with anyone. And we have this very, very toxic and expansive loneliness that people are experiencing. And the thing is that if we were to align with harmonic order, and if we would provide mindfully everything that the body needs as we move along, those needs would be met very deeply. And our constant rat race that we are playing out in this construct would not be about survival, because survival is meeting basic needs. Okay. Problem is, humanity doesn't know what their basic needs are. We were told our basic needs are survival in terms of, the material, right? But actually, our basic needs are more simple than that. But at the same time, we have to deprogram a lot in order to know how to give ourselves those things. So, for a human to flourish, for a human to be in harmonic order, for a human to be healthy, thriving, in embodying longevity, is that we have to meet the basic core needs of the human. And this is a vibrational medicine. It's a vibrational medicine. Why? Because emotions are vibrational medicine, or they can be toxic killers. It depends on how you use it. Okay. So if a human is starting to feel this feeling of disconnect and isolation from the world around, immediately we have to address that belief system. And I can guarantee you that those belief systems that are in separation, pain, and suffering are completely incomplete, because the real truth is universal. It is unity consciousness. The truth is universal consciousness. The truth is unity consciousness. The truth is unity, oneness. And we know that that's true because it's modeled to us in all of nature's architecture. It's modeled in universal architecture. It's modeled in the entire processes of the earth and how it moves in the solar system, in our own body, all of the systems of the physical body that are working collectively to make things happen in a very beautiful, self-organized system of intelligence. So you see, when we believe the construct, which is an illusion, it's a man-made illusion, we get confused, and that's the problem. There is so much in this world that is providing you with evidence, real evidence. For those that are more scientifically minded and want to have evidence, you only need to open your eyes and observe. Because on the other side of that is the illusion that you fall for this concept of separation, which is an absolute lie. You simply are not separate from anything. You're not isolated from anything. And essentially your purpose, your mere existence, whether you do something or not, your existence is absolutely imperative to the whole. Okay. So that's something that, we oftentimes we have a hard time believing, because we are social beings. We want to have connections and communities and things like this. But first, you have to be a community in yourself. You have to be connected. All of your networks need to be connected internally, so that you can recognize the unity that is around you. It's about recognition. And another thing that I noticed in the healing process is that we talked last week about lies that we tell ourselves. Sometimes we hold on to concepts about ourselves, lies. And there's other forms of ways that we lie to ourselves as well. We might not realize, because we don't know what love is. We might not realize how much love there has been in our lives, how much compassion there has been in our lives, how much joy there has been in our lives. It's always very easy for us to remember, the traumas, the very profound traumas that have affected us And sometimes we think about just the happy times without looking at the trauma as well. But we're only looking at one slice of the pizza, one slice of the whole. And so the invitation for this process of becoming more into unity consciousness is to always question, is your perception based on a very limited observation, or is it based on the whole? This is extremely important for meditation and shadow work, because in shadow work, we can get very stuck, right? We either get super stuck on the trauma, or we feel like there's nothing there. And then we move away from it. We don't dig deeper. And so this is part of this intuitive intelligence that we come into. Now, on the higher level, the higher octave of this internal work is the cultivation of your higher faculties, which is a result of coming into more expanded ranges of vibrational frequency. Okay. So if the majority of our programs and belief systems and thoughts are coming from a place of separation, it's also going to be difficult to perceive through your intuitive capacities. And we need to train, because real intuition, it's a cultivation of many parts of you. It's not just a cultivation of, just the mere ability to have a psychic insight into things. It's a way of being, just like love. Love is really intuition. Intuition emerges from love, because love, as a state of being, allows you to unify your perception of everything around you. Okay. Yeah, so I want to dive into that, and I want to also really quickly show you. I want to show you a couple of reasons why it's difficult to embody a grounded state. There are a few layers that we want to clear from the body in order to embody a grounded state. Number one, we have a lot of energetic cords, a lot of entanglement. We might be holding on to generations and generations of cords in the body. So you're not wanting to be in your body is not just about, oh, I feel like I don't belong here. Well, we feel like we don't belong here because our current environment perhaps is not feeling very nourishing, or it doesn't feel like it's supportive, or that it resonates. Maybe the people in our family, perhaps we don't feel like it resonates. But again, this is part of that wrong perception, because as you do deep shadow work, you're going to find that you are repeating the exact same patterns, and you're also feeling the same way that your ancestors, your relatives have felt. Those patterns of strong beliefs and emotions, they are programmed and memorized inside of our body. So, for example, we might feel like we don't belong in our family because our mother is just disconnected and doesn't connect with us and doesn't, want to engage or spend time with us. And our father was just completely, not emotional and disconnected and didn't engage very much in the family. And so what led the father to become that way is that, when he was young, he was very creative, but, the world is forcing him to suppress all of his creative intentions in order to survive. Right. And so he lets all that creative aspect go. And so again, he wants connection, wants unity, and he doesn't find it. He feels alone. Everything that he desires and wants is not available to him. And the mother, the same. The mother feels like she's just doing what is supposed to be done without having time to connect with her internal needs. And she just goes with the flow, meeting the requirements of all the people around her without ever having the opportunity to question what she is really needing. And that level of disconnect and self abandonment that both of them have had to experience, we experience exactly the same. We feel lonely in the world. We are abandoned. We feel abandoned by mom and dad. We feel abandoned by our family, our friends. And again, we feel abandoned in the present moment. And that level of abandonment you're going to feel in all your relationships. You're going to actually seek out partners that are either like mom and dad that are not necessarily supportive. And our children are also repeating these same programs. So we are much more alike than we think, but for the majority of us, we don't take the time to understand truly, what is actually, what is the link? And this is where we talk about resonance. This is how we discover resonance. The resonance is the core root belief system that is being repeated generation after generation. So we might have many of these kinds of energetic cords. They manifest in the body like etheric crystallized energy pathways from the body to our family members, to our ancestors, because again, words are power, intention is power, action is a these are a very powerful creative force. And what's being creative is energy. Energy cannot be just eliminated. Energy it goes through the process in the etheric quantum realm in the crystallization process. It's an energetic crystallization. What does that mean? It changes, the wave band of the frequency changes from higher, first thought, into more material. The more material it becomes, the more physical and embodied that thought form becomes. And that's where we end up having chronic shoulder pains, liver diseases, all kinds of things in the physical body. That illness that you now have in the body was once a thought form. So these are cords. In addition to every single thought form that you have millions, potentially millions of cords connecting to ancestors, relatives, down generations. Because remember that our generational timelines, it's not linear, it's simultaneous. Okay, and I know that's difficult for us to conceptualize, but all of our ancestors are existing simultaneous to us. All of the energies and memories, we might think it's some time, ancient time in the 1800s. In reality, we are still holding those energies through our body and we repeat them. That's why conscious awareness is so important. Repetition is what binds you. And it binds you to the matrix, it binds you to the core of the earth. And the more crystallized these thought forms become, we are connecting to the grid of the earth. The earth has its own energy system grid. It has its own memory system. So every single family lineage is connected to the part of the world in which the frequency is matching that ancestral emotional memory. Okay, and these are very broad, expansive, collective groups of thought form. And what we call culture is a collection of a lot of these thought forms. And some of them are productive for the human, and some of them are absolutely not productive for the human, the deeper you go. So cleaning the cords of yourself with another is important. And it might be the reason why it feels so difficult to be fully embodied, because when your body is full of energetic cords, first of all, in order for you to have cords, you have to have lots of holes. Okay, my mouse is in my desk. So we'll do our best with this image here. Let me just zoom out a little bit. And you see, in the physical body, the cords that are in the place. Actually, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna bring my mouse. One moment, please. Be right back. Okay, so these energetic cords here, this is how the body looks. Let me see which one would be a good. Let's use this. Okay. Um, so the body, I mean, as this toroidal energy system, as you know, whenever we are holding these cords in the body, these are connecting to all of our ancestors for many generations here. So your morphogenetic field, which is the energetic field around your body, it becomes pretty heavy with things. And remember that everything that you're carrying in the entire energy body, that makes up your frequency. So some of you tell me, oh, like I have such a high frequency all the time. And yet the experiences that we continue to have are very low experiences, low frequency experiences, very, very stressing, very traumatizing experiences. Well, that's because your actual resonance, your actual frequency is quite shifted by the actual things that are in your subconscious mind. So when we talk about the morphogenetic field, we're talking about the collection of thought forms, everything that you are, all the instruction manual of your form. And all of that is within the morphogenetic field, emotional memory, bioelectrical memory, ancestral memory for many generations. And so your morphogenetic field, which is this entire energy field that you carry with you, you are the field is you, and it's with you all the time, no matter where you are. It's full of stuff. Okay, so of course these holes that have to be made in the body in order for energy to be depleted, you are not really aware here. You're not really conscious. You're not really conscious of your body. You're not really home. You're actually out of the body. Okay, so you don't want to be fully in your body. You're kind of up here. You're kind of floating up here, in this space here. And this is not a good thing. This doesn't mean that you have a high vibration or that you only want to be touching high vibrational consciousness. You're nowhere. You're in limbo. Because in order to really embody high vibrational states, your bottom foundation has to be strong. Why? Because the higher you go, the stronger your body has to be in order to sustain high vibrational frequencies. The fascia, the muscles, the bones, all of that have to be in harmonic order in order for your entire physical vessel to sustain higher vibrational frequencies. Okay, that's why when people embody higher states of consciousness, their body heals. When we meditate a lot and clean the body and work with the energy continuously, illness can't exist in the body. Because now you've opened your pathways of life force in which you're able to bring and anchor this life force into the body. So until you do that, you're just in limbo. So when you're not home and your awareness is just out of the body, you're checked out. Here, you're not creating. You have no free will when you're out of the body. You have no free will. In fact, you are more dictated by your external circumstances than anything else. And what happens is that the poor body is suffering because the body can only take low vibrational frequency for so long before it starts to self-destruct. So anything that's done out of balance is in the direction of self-destruction. Anytime you are experiencing one emotion over and over and over and over again, let's say anxiety, day in and day out, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, it's anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. Something triggers you outside, anxiety. The poor body is just swimming in a soup of anxiety And every cell of your body is absorbing that. So that anxiety is something that you are feeding by repeating the patterns of your ancestors. And what that looks like in the etheric layer of your body is that we have hundreds of cords. These are energetic cords. They are pathways of energy that we reinforce, just like neural pathways that, when a thought is made, there's a connection that's made exactly the same way. The etheric body functions exactly the same way. When there's a connection in resonance with your anxiety and grandpa's anxiety, we just keep throwing that back and forth. And we believe, because again, this is our belief systems, these energy pathways are reinforced through the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind becomes repetitive over and over and over again. And so what happens is that these cords become really nice and juicy, really thick, really, really nourished every day, because you keep reinforcing and repeating anxiety. And, this is one example of many, but we end up in these repetitive loops. So that's a lot of this anxious energy. And there's no grounding here. There's no intuition. There's no connection. There's no source access. Okay. This is how you program DNA in a self-destructive manner. The more you reinforce and you create these energy pathways, these pathways translate into very important data written into your DNA epigenetically. These are the markers that are turned on in the body. And so because you are a biological being that is biochemical, bioelectrical, you become less conductive because you're only processing one range of frequency in your body, which in this case is anxiety. And it can be fear, it can be all these very limiting emotions that process at a very low vibrational frequency rate. You keep repeating them. And so every cell of your body is speaking that language now. And any body that is out of balance, which means you're only processing one range, it becomes ill, it becomes sick, it's in the process of death. So we want to learn how to close our energy body so that you can consciously choose what you allow to enter into your space. And to choose what you don't want. What does that mean? That when, let's say, auntie comes with a very triggering observation about you, it stays out here. And how actually the real work is to understand what is the trigger, because the trigger is in you. It's your belief system of unworthiness that is challenged by the observation, for example. So these are very basic examples of everyday things that are happening to us moment by moment. And the idea is that the more we understand how to take control of our awareness, because our awareness can be, it's like a wild, wild animal. It just goes everywhere. It has no grounding. So one way to learn to be fully in the body is to close your energetic field. What happens when you close the energetic field? You can choose the emotions that you feel in the body. Okay, so now the environment of the physical body, which before was feeling really uncomfortable, now becomes more comfortable. Okay, and I'm using the word comfort with caution because nothing is comfortable. Everything is change, by the way. Everything is consistently changing. But we can embody a bliss state in the body by coming into the 0 point, which is the non-judgmental observation. And the point of this work is not to find and pursue pleasure or pursue a specific emotion like joy or love. This work is not for that. This work is to encompass as broad of a range of frequency that you can in your physical body. So you have to be able and willing to access the darknesses of your depths into the highest ranges of frequencies of your body, because you're an ever moving, you are pure movement, you are pure light. There's nothing stagnant. We in our societies, we think comfort is like nice and cozy sitting in a little couch for a couple hours, right? There's stagnant, it just stays there, there's no movement. So that is death, because what happens in nature when something stays stuck in one place? Well, it starts to decompose and putrefy and die, and it goes into the process of death. It's the same thing. You're an energy being. Everything has to be moving all the time. Your thoughts are moving, and you're creating. I mean, if you guys were to see yourself in other dimensional planes, you guys are just incredible bodies of moving light and energy. And you have no idea. You think that you're just moving the cup to your mouth to drink water. You think that little simple movement. So much is going on because our mind is multidimensional. Our entire body is multidimensional. So this constant flow, creative flow in a state of awareness, is what equates to health, is what equates to truth, is what essentially cultivates harmonic order. You're basically bringing and combining the awareness with the natural movement of the all. So the second reason why it's so difficult to be in the body is because we are traumatized with negative emotions, but we are not allowing ourselves to practice higher dimensional emotions. And how do we do that is in meditation. You are alchemizing your emotions. So shadow work is about alchemy. And the shadow work is that you become as familiar with your negative emotions as you are your positive emotions. So this range of frequency, grief is 75 here. Okay, the opposite can be, acceptance, 350 frequency. Okay, so here we are transmuting this grief into and by embodying acceptance. What does this do in the body is a profound chain reaction of transmutation, which is affecting biochemically, literally your glands. It changes the direction and the instruction of how it's overproducing chemicals of, let's say, cortisol, okay, or pain or anxiety, whatever is being secreted by consistent states of grief for you, right? Because it can be many layers there. So immediately it's going to stop overproducing these hormones and chemicals that are creating imbalance, because your imbalances, your emotional imbalances, are chemical environments. They're chemical environments. They are bioelectrical systems that are less conductive. Okay, so gently we bring the alchemy, which changes your entire system. And this is why in one sitting of a meditation, you can clear your sore throat, you can clear your headache, you can clear the pain that was in your stomach all day, because you're a very moving, proactive energy system. And so this shift in frequency, the more you become embodied with higher vibrational emotions, not just thinking, you are embodying. Okay, so you went from feeling grief to acceptance. That required for you to psychologically process the things that are happening to you, emotionally accept the difficult resistance that we might have to the losses that we have. And so the embodiment of acceptance starts to change everything. And for a lot of people, we have emotional trauma. What is that? That when we start to feel acceptance, underneath the acceptance is all kinds of anxiety, because we're like, I don't know if I can accept. I don't know if acceptance is safe. I've been in grief for so long I've been in fear for so long that I don't know if I want to feel acceptance all the time. And so for this, we need to work with the little ego, which is the identified part of us that is identified with the grief. Because every time you repeat ancestral patterns of emotions for generations and generations, you have to remember you have a subconscious identity that is created by that. It's your identity, it's your personality, everything that you've become. And it's a puzzle piece of many pieces. You're sustaining partnerships. Maybe you united with your partner because both of you were grieving. Not so great, right? Because unless both of you are processing that grief, your entire relationship will be always coming back to a baseline of this core belief system of it can be, this is just an example, victimization, helplessness, overwhelm, pain, loss. And you just can't go beyond that bracket into a creative, healthy state of co-creation. And remember, externally in the world, in the construct, it's defining how and what you are creating. So a person that is stuck in grief, for example, their solar plexus is completely contracted, their heart is broken. So the heart chakra is it's destroyed. It can be split in half. It can be really sluggish, not moving at all, right? And so as they begin to alchemize that grief into acceptance, the chakra bodies begin to repair. That's a big deal because that changes like a lot of things chemically, anatomically, um, uh, your vibrational anatomy. I mean, not like your physical anatomy, but your vibrational energy structure, the architecture of your energy body will change. And this goes deep into the study of, I mean, the geometric forms in which we are holding into the body, because again, you are sacred geometry because you are made of a pathways of light. And so wherever this light is not moving through the body, wherever the source is not entering the body fluidly, this is where you're experiencing blockages. So you can take on many different forms in your body geometrically. Your sacred geometry will become more complex the more energy pathways you open in the body. How? The more you alchemize belief systems, emotional belief systems, because these emotional belief systems at lower frequency, they're more simple, they're more simplistic geometric structures. And this goes really deep into the esoteric understanding of geometry, sacred geometry, structures of light. Every single shape that you hold energetically in your body, let's say that your energy is depleted all the time. So you're like a triangle energetically. All your energy is out, depleting, constantly out. Your attention is externalized. There is no awareness of the back of your body. You have no idea. You have no idea. Your survival mechanism is just this right here. This is your range of frequency. This is the range of vision, range of perception. That's a very fragile existence. It's a fragile state of being. Okay, so let's say you're working with your energy a little more. You broaden your perception, right? So now you're not just looking over here. You're able to see your whole energy system. And this embodied architecture of light is processed by the alchemy of emotion. So again, that example, this person is turning grief into acceptance. Now, it's not so simple, obviously, because in order to accept, this individual has to accept themselves, forgive the past, forgive himself, forgive, have compassion with himself, be aware of what he's doing by feeling those emotions in the body. That's awareness, it's accountability, and it's operating by the higher ethical laws of existence. Because remember that, in ethics, it's not just about what you're doing with other people outside. What's more important is what you're doing with yourself inside. That's why our attention has to be returning back to the self right now. Because if you want to learn how to engage with humanity outside in a compassionate, loving way, you first have to learn how to do that with yourself in your body. And majority of you don't. You are at war with yourself. You hate yourself. You judge yourself. You're criticizing. You are rejecting yourself on deep, deep ways. You reject your appearance. You reject the way that you speak. You reject the way that you feel certain things. You reject who you are, who you want to be. I mean, we have such profound internal rejections with ourselves, and that is how to create an open loop. Open loop. It means all the energy is centrifugal. All the juice is exiting the body, your life force. Okay, so again, the brainwave state that you produce, understand how beautifully complex your body is. The brainwave states that you produce when you are in a state of depletion are survival. Okay, and so we want to at least embody alpha state as a baseline. And this is an active alpha state. It's not just a state of lethargic, kind of just disconnect, kind of floating around. It's a grounded alpha. And that's it's a different potency of that vibrational frequency in the body. Because when you link the mind and the body, the entire body starts to vibrate at that vibrational frequency. Okay. And so on a genetic level, you begin to allow for the DNA to have its full expression instead of coiling up, knotting up all over the place, in which triggers the markers of illness, sickness, imbalance in the body. Okay. So in other words, let's talk about grounding now that we're talking about coming into the alpha state, because we want to be in the body the more that we clean the energy body. So we talked about energetic cords. We talked about the alchemy of moving emotion so that we can integrate be feeling in the body. And I guess the number one thing when I say comfortable is safety. Okay. We don't feel safe in the body. So in order for you to feel safe in the body, you have to you have to embody safety. So your homework for this week is to sit with safety and notice what happens to you. Feel safe in your body. Make yourself feel safe. And if you're not familiar with the feeling of safety, go back to a moment, one memory in your past in which you did feel safe, or you touched the feeling of safety. It can be something so vague. It can be like a hug from your brother, or it could be, hugging a little puppy when you're a child. That moment you felt safe. I want you to focus on that little emotion that you felt and expand it into your whole body. And I want you to notice what gets triggered. Because I guarantee that for those of you that are not familiar with feeling safe, and most of you are not, your solar plexus is going to contract. You're going to start having anxiety. You're going to start having all these horrible thoughts. And what you're facing is everything that's in the morphogenetic field that you have been resisting and you're unaware of for generations and generations, not just now, lifetimes and lifetimes. Okay, so that essentially is going to help you understand to feel safe in the body. And one of the fastest ways to begin to ground in the emotion of safety, the thought form of safety, is to connect to the center of the earth. Okay, because when you connect down to the center of the earth, you actually begin to process the positive and negative charges in the body. Okay, so when you're in states of stress, anxiety, fear, you have all kinds of free radicals and you have a lot of negative ions all over the body. When we ground down to the center of the earth, literally you are imagining, you are using your imagination, you are visualizing. Imagination is for healing. Imagination is for the activation of your multidimensional potential. Okay, so the imagination of you cording down, rooting down to the center of the earth, the planetary earth grid is essential to bring you into alpha state, because this universe is operating at much higher ranges of frequency. The more you isolate yourself from the connection of the whole by looking at the material, which is an illusion, it's not even any level of reality, your whole body is just, it's a shell of its existence. So the expansion of that perception into the wholeness of what you are is reconnecting you with the universe. And that requires you to first at least ground into your body, at least at the very bare minimum, ground to the earth. Okay, because the earth is the entire planet Earth, the beautiful, gigantic planet Earth. It's oscillating at a certain vibrational frequency. And guess what? You can heal with that. That's why it's called the Mother Earth. It's a powerful, creative, you are pure creation, and the earth is at the frequency of creation. So when you disconnect yourself with earth, again, when you disconnect yourself with nature, you're lost. You don't know what's up, what's down. You don't know what's right, what's wrong. You don't know what's order and disorder. You're confused. And confusion is, one of the most fragile states to exist in. Because as long as you continue to feel confused in your life, you're not holding any level of energy. You have no energetic hygiene. You have no protection. Okay, so a lot of you are focused on, I need to be protected. What's protection? Protection is that you're fully in your body. Protection is that you are one with the universe. That is protection. You are one with the earth. The moment you isolate yourself from any of these larger energy systems, that's why you feel alone. That's why you feel disconnected. Okay, so the grounding, bringing you into alpha state, is the first foundational step so that you can hold higher bands of frequency. Okay, and so incrementally, as you train yourself to be grounded and embodied in your body, you become more conductive. What does that mean? You can support higher bands of frequency through your body. You can't embody ultraviolet or gamma states of frequency in your body if you're over here in fear or survival. You just absolutely cannot. You see this? You can't. You won't understand this, because not only is your perception very limited, it's limited because the vibrational frequencies that you're processing through the body are quite limited. And so to be conductive means that, remember, these are band waves of frequency. When they're slow and sluggish, you're not conductive. When your emotions are really heavy, low all the time, you can't be conductive. So and remember that when you're conductive, your entire Merkaba, your entire energy body begins to spin. Your toroidal body spins faster. It spins faster, so you can process more. It's not about processing less or processing only one thing. It's processing everything. That is the true enlightenment, if you want to call it enlightenment. That is the true awakening. That is the true ascension. Okay? It's not conceptual thoughts. It's embodied frequency, which is done through alchemy, alchemical processes. Okay, so this is how we essentially, we strengthen, expand DNA, we expand and we activate DNA, but don't focus on activation of DNA, because you're not even there yet. You're not there yet. If you are not, at the minimum, bringing your body into harmonic order so that you can at least bring your body into a homeostasis. Okay, the homeostasis is the foundation. of maintaining expanded states of consciousness, expanded states of frequency, and expanded emotional states, which equate to longevity, intuition, health. You see, intuition is a field. You can't connect to the field if you're only speaking one language. If you only know one word of a language, if you only know basket in the language, if you only know that word and you're repeating the word basket over and over again, you're not going to understand fruit. You're not going to understand, abundance. You're not going to understand any of these other language words. So your body is communicating with the universe. It's speaking at a certain language. And so we want to expand our vocabulary, our vibrational vocabulary. You expand vibrational vocabulary by expanding your range of perception. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get into the meditation. And I hope that this information can help. Oh, we have a message from live stream. It's working fine. I see the live. Somebody sent me a message say that the live stream is not working. But I do see us live here. So go ahead and send me a message and let me know live on the YouTube if you're having trouble seeing me. I do see us live. So that might be maybe a connection issue on your device or something. All right, guys. Thank you for telling me anyway, just in case. I really appreciate that. Make sure that it is running. Let's get into the meditation. Go ahead and ground yourself down to the center of the earth. Bring yourself into your body. Right. Breathe deeply. Straighten up your spine, sit up straight. Open up your energy pathways in the body, breathing down to the base of the spine. As we set the intention that we are coming into meditation in order to connect to our higher self, go ahead and allow yourself to ground down to the center of the earth. Breathing. Take a moment to feel the earth's rotation through your body. Go ahead and visualize a sphere around your body. Notice where it's difficult to imagine this bubble around your body and close it. Breathing deeply. Go ahead and focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine, shrinking the root chakra down to the size of a dime. Go into the sacral, shrinking it down to the size of a dime. Go into the solar plexus, shrinking it down to the size of a dime. Up into your heart chakra, expanding your heart. Go into your throat, expanding your throat. Go into your third eye, expanding your third eye. Up into your crown, expanding your crown. Go ahead and fill your creative color into every area of your life, including your career, abundance, family, health, vitality, relationships, creativity, sexual energy, money, and your purpose. From the center of the earth, you're going to bring and pull a powerful healing energy. It can be the color that you choose that is the most healing for you. But allow yourself to choose a color that is the most healing frequency for your body at this time. And you're going to absorb it to your feet as if you're pulling up through straws into the body. Go ahead and bring cosmic energy down to the crown of your head, down your spine, combining with this healing energy. Go ahead and take 10% back down to the center of the earth. So we set the intention that we heal Mother Earth with cosmic energy. See this energy going into the grid system of the planet Earth. Breathing. Go ahead and take 80% of that combination up your spine and from the crown of your head, coating the outside of your bubble. Clearing your connections to the matrix, clearing cords, calling back your life force into your body. Go ahead and take that final 10% to bring it into the body, absorbing into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, into the cellular level of your body. Direct this gold energy to all parts of the body that need more love, more attention, more healing. Go ahead and infuse your toes with love, this healing energy into your toes, your feet, your heels, your shins, your calves, your knees, your thighs, up into the sexual organs, into the large intestines, small intestines, kidneys, spleen, pancreas, stomach, liver, moving up into the lungs, into the heart, into the arms, into the throat, into the brain. Embody absolute acceptance for your body at this time. We're going to go deeper. Begin to observe your karmic room with all your karmic contracts, all of the agreements that you made coming into this world in order to grow, to learn, to experience. Go ahead and see that room filled with your contracts. Shine your crown light on top of them like a laser, dissolving them, turning them into water, evaporating into sand. Whatever feels real for you, clear that room. And allow yourself to move into the next room where we have people that don't have our best interests. Go ahead and clear them out using your crown light to shine your light on top of these shadows, these forms, entities, attachments, whoever it is that don't have our best interest. Go ahead and eliminate them out of that space. Calling back your life force as you cut cords, visualize a bundle of sticks, cut them in half, and release. Let's go ahead and go deeper. Take a look at the strongest emotion that you've had in the past 24 hours. Go ahead and allow yourself to be absolutely present with this emotion in your body and notice what part of your body tenses up as you feel it, and begin to be present, observing that emotion, and name out the emotions that come up as you observe this emotion in your body. And acknowledge the strongest of these emotions. Be absolutely present with that emotion in your body. Observe how you respond to this emotion in the body. Notice the part of you that contracts. As you observe the insights that you receive, as you observe the emotion, name out the emotions that are coming up. Allow yourself to name out the emotions that come up. I want you to notice the core root emotion that comes up. And you're going to take yourself back to the very first time that you felt this way. Take yourself back to the very first time that you felt this way. Go ahead and observe yourself in this memory, noticing what you are feeling in that moment. Tune in to make an observation of what's being triggered in you in that moment and name out the emotions. Allow yourself to observe what your need is in that moment. What is it that you need? What need is not being met in that moment? Be as brutally honest with yourself as you can in order to really see what it is. You might notice that sometimes we have these superficial needs, but underneath there's something else, something deeper. Allow yourself to see what is the true need of yourself in that moment. As you identify your need, begin to observe what do you need in order to embody that, to fulfill that need. So you allow yourself to identify exactly what you need. Notice how familiar you are with that. Chances are you're not very familiar with that state of being, that emotion that you need. So I want you to embody in your body the need. Let's say that you need safety in that moment, fill yourself up with safety. If you need self-trust in that moment, fill yourself up with self-trust. If you need to value yourself more in that moment, fill yourself with value. And you're going to begin to explore and examine what is inside of the emotion of value or safety. What emotions are there? Just name them out simply. All you got to do is feel the emotion and name it out. Notice if anxiety comes up or any kind of resistance comes up as you feel these emotions, that's natural. Just allow yourself to meet the needs as they arise. Begin to fill yourself up with these new emotions that you're discovering you need and familiarize yourself, continuing to ask every moment what you need in order to fill yourself with each of these emotions. What do you need to give yourself what these emotions are giving? It could be self-compassion, and then you fill yourself with compassion. And notice that when you fill yourself with compassion, you begin to feel at peace, you begin to feel calm, you begin to feel safe. So just observe the layers of emotions that begin to emerge as you begin to reprogram your body into an expanded emotional state, into a higher octave of the emotion that you were feeling previously. Gently guide yourself through any resistance that you might feel, fears that might be coming up, or just pure acceptance of what you're experiencing. Guide yourself non-judgmentally and with compassion. As you allow yourself to see this, begin to notice all the fractals of yourself that continue to repeat this constant state, this belief system. How many years are you repeating this belief? How many times has this belief affected and caused you suffering or deviated your path or off your path? Begin to observe. This is really important for you to really take accountability, responsibility, and a profound understanding of the effects of your creation. Oftentimes, we don't see this and we don't realize the impact, the depth, the importance. And if you were to understand it, it would make change and implementation and integration of the other state of being easier, more clear, more focused, more integrated. So you allow yourself to integrate all these fractals of yourself into one. Go ahead and inhale deeply and integrate them into your body. As you infuse them with compassion, with love, with acceptance. So you allow yourself to integrate fully these emotions, the state of being. Go ahead and cut cords with all the people that participated in these memories in the past and call back your life force and release what does not belong. Very good. As you allow yourself to open the root chakra at the base of the spine, go ahead and clear your energy body in the root chakra, starting in the front of the body, going all the way 360 around the body, clearing it out. Go up into the sacral chakra, open the sacral back into a balanced state, clearing all the blockages in the sacral. Go up into the solar, opening the solar back into a balanced state, clearing all the blockages in the solar plexus. Go up into the heart chakra. You're going to close it just a little bit, clearing all the blockages in the heart. Go up into the throat. Same thing, clearing the throat chakra body. Into the third eye, clearing the third eye. Go up into the crown, expanding your crown, filling your crown with the color of your highest vibrational self. I'm going to go up into the eighth, activating the eighth, the ninth, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and you'll notice how your body shifts. The 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And above you is a white light of source. Connect, anchor that white light down into your body, into the heart, down to the perineum, down to the center of the earth. You're going to see another pillar of light down through the solar plexus out through the back. So you're going to have an axis of light on the center front of the body and through the cross section of the body. Make sure these pillars of light are completely solid, whole, undisturbed, unblocked. And you're going to turn on the chakra underneath your feet, 3 chakras underneath your body. Ground yourself into the center of the earth and go ahead and open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, come back into the room. You're going to continue to see your energy body with your eyes open. Continue to see your chakras all the way up to source. Be aware of your bubble around you. Very good. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure and an honor to share this space with you. I hope that the things that I shared with you today can help you and support your internal work. And if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and put it in the chat. And it's I'm so happy to answer your questions. You guys can put it into capital letters. I'm going to go into the YouTube chat. Hi, everybody. Linda, great to see you. Philip. Philip says, hi, Geraldine, reflecting your teachings with my own wisdom, anchoring empowerment in people here in Minnesota. Yay! Proud of you. Amazing. Kira, Lady M, so happy to see you. Jane, C Notes. Thank you so much. So great to see you. Yes, good luck to everyone. Sanjay, welcome. Could you elaborate a bit how to deal with creative blockages that arise when trying to create a huge art idea? I find it difficult to realize something is divine that gets distorted in the material. That's interesting. Let me think here. Jason, thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see you here. Thank you. That is incredibly generous of you. It's so kind. Thank you so much. Um, Let me make sure I understand your question. Okay, creative blockages that arise when trying to create art. Yeah. So, the interesting thing about art creation, it's the creative process of creativity. And essentially, because we are pure creation, what gets in the way is the mind. Okay. And so don't you want to observe the blockages? So, first of all, are we actually seeking perfection through the block, through the art piece? Are we pursuing the approval of others? Are we pursuing um, either the affection or the acknowledgement of others, because the majority of the block is actually us externalizing um, our potential and the flow of our creativity. So you want to get to know that part of us. Where is the critical voice coming up? At what point in that process is a critical voice coming up? Is it coming up in the part where you think about the end product or in the process? Is this about self-doubt? Do you not think that you can do something good? And usually we think we can't do something good because we are afraid of other people's rejection, in addition to our own, of course. So you want to really take a look at what point is the criticism happening and who are we creating for? Who are we creating? You mentioned you find it difficult to find something is divine that gets distorted in the material. Well, you see, there's a misconception about the divine because the divine is all encompassing. So the divine is not just something pure. In fact, our concept of purity is also inverted. Okay, the concept of purity is inverted because we think pure means clear and perfect and like untouched, undisturbed, um, like not tainted. But purity means undisturbed, untouched in its raw form, not in any level of perfection. Purity, divinity. So things are divine when they are in their most raw, authentic expression. So again, we want to move towards authenticity in all areas of the creative process. You want to be authentic with yourself, understand why you're creating, what is this a creative expression? And what's driving that creation is not approval or maybe wealth or security, because for us, art can be a survival thing. It can be part of what helps us pay bills. But all of those little things can become blockages because now it has shifted the nature of our frequency, the nature of our creative energy. And when we start directing that creativity towards one goal, we, again, in the same way, we shorten our perception, we thin out our perception. And so for artists, we are all artists, but for creative artists that are producing here creativity, you want to try to have as broad as of a frequency range available to you, because that's creativity. You want all the colors of the rainbow available to you, all the frequencies of the rainbow spectrums, up to the highest level available to you. Okay. So when we think about divinity, it's whatever is in its raw state, most authentic state. That's when it's going to be part of harmonic order. Okay. So yeah, this is the part where we have to learn this dichotomy of what perfection and imperfection is, because there is no perfection. And there's also no imperfection in that when something is in its pure authenticity, it is already that perfect. When we manipulate things, when we distort, the distortion comes when there's manipulation of a natural, raw, authentic expression. And manipulations can be hard to detect because they might be hidden behind survival, they might be hidden behind many layers of perceived perfections that we might have, which are all incomplete truths. So this is where we want to broaden that. Yeah, and then I mean, even that process can be part of your creative output, this whole concept of divinity. Yeah, so I hope that answers that question. Thank you so much for that. Nicholas, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday to Nicholas. It's so great to have you here. Beautiful birthday. Um, Blessings for you. If opportunity knocks and it's not at home, opportunity waits. Greetings to all meditators, higher level seekers, legends, myths. Yes. Shaina Carr, hello. Sergey, Lucas, great to see you in search of your chakras. Yes, with Geraldine Rosk. Yes. Shayna, for the past few months, I have been going into the 0 point and I feel energy moving down my spine behind me into different chakras. Is this energy clearing, activating, or both? Okay, so with energy and the movement of energy, we want to observe what is happening. So at what point does that energy um, move when we feel it move down? Are we connecting to source? Because a lot of times it could be that we're opening pathways in the 0 point. And of course, when we open pathways, the energy can actually move through the body. It could be that when you block energy, there's nothing moving. And now you open it, now you're going to feel it moving. So yeah, so it's both, right? In order for pathways of energy to be felt and to be moved through, there has to be a clearing. Okay. And so these are key terms important to understand. Clearing equates to 0 point. Clearing means, and I guess this is a great thing to explain, there's nothing good and bad. It's the process of transmutation. You are transmuting because what we're clearing is thought forms and blocked energy. Blocked energy is repeated thought forms that have crystallized into the energy body. And blocked energy is the stagnation of that repetition in the energy body. So when we talk about clearing, it's alchemization and opening, shifting the frequency, breaking the pattern of what's being repeated. The outcome is activation because you're moving from slow bandwidth of frequency to faster moving energy in the body. So activation is that you shift the frequency, you alchemize lower bandwidths of frequency into higher bands of frequency. Okay, so there's a lot of layers happening there. Just observe. And the whole focus is that you always, in your meditations, you want to bring yourself back to that internal peace. You want to embody internal peace, create an environment for internal peace, essentially is what we are cultivating through that work. Okay. Shaina, can you explain what becoming more crystalline means? So I think the term crystalline has become like a pretty common word in the spiritual community, but when I talk about this in spiritual anatomy of the body, there's two different kinds of crystallization and crystalline. Okay, it's two different things. And so we don't have enough words, I think, in our human understanding to really describe the processes that are happening, but we do our best. So let me explain. The crystallization of an emotion, for example, what it means is that it's changing frequency from something that's non-physical into something that becomes more dense and more physical. Okay, so that's one form of crystallization, because what happens is that this this energy that was once a thought form, it was a little thought, now became an illness because it's a thought, and then we repeat the thought, we repeat it. We stagnate energy. The energy is not moving in the energetic field over and over again. And so there's no communication. The communication of energy is cut off between the energy flow and the body. And so that disconnect is what creates the crystallization in the field. Okay. And then it translates into the body because it's as above, so below, as within, so without. Your morphogenetic field is an absolute holographic projection of everything that you're running in your genetic code, okay? And that's epigenetically as well. So that's one form. Now, when we talk about ascension, we talk about becoming more crystalline. And again, it's hard to find the actual word for that because it's not a term that, it's not something that fits into human physics, the construct of physics, okay? Yet it will when we understand quantum fields more. But essentially, when we expand into this quantum field of non-physical, you merge with the field. You merge with the field. Okay. And so the band waves of frequency that you embody as the all, um, you are transmuting the physical matter, and you're expanding the range of frequency that your body can sustain as you become more conductive. And this moves an energy that is more crystalline, in a sense, that is a really high vibrational frequency through the body. And so that produces a lot of things in the physical body, anatomically, spiritual anatomy in the body. Your geometric structure changes into a crystalline system, energy system. Because in sacred geometry, the more simplistic your geometry is, the more solid, the more basic is the energy structure. The more complex your energy system is, the more crystalline you become, because it's a higher bandwidth, more conductive system of energy. Okay. And so you're producing DMT, naturally in the pineal gland. Many things are happening. Your geometry, sacred geometry, becomes more complex. Your emotional regulation is super grounded in the body. Your body is in homeostasis. You're able to sustain all ranges of vibrational frequency through the body while maintaining the 0 point. So this is kind of like that process. I hope that answers that question. Sergey says, any real-time conferences coming up? Yeah, well, actually next year we have a really busy schedule, and I'm super excited for that. So I have a lot of private events coming up on my calendar. So please do check out my events calendar. I have a remote telepathy training workshop. So you guys want to learn telepathy, and everybody is telepathic. It is so much fun in our group. So, if you guys want to join that, definitely check that out. That's on the, I think, 6th of November. And then I have a very special event coming next month that I'm going to do, a group hypnosis, because next month is a very powerful next level transition point as we are ascending here. So, yeah. And then, of course, I'll be speaking at the New Living Expo in April. So definitely check that out in California. And I will be doing my beautiful Turkey and Greece tours. So I really hope that you can join me for that, for the cruise. We're touring around Turkey and Greece on a cruise. That's by Portal to Ascension. So I'm super excited about that. Definitely check that out. And yeah. What would bear symbols in dreams? What would bear symbols in dreams? Bear was chasing me. Bear was chasing me. Oh, that's interesting. Dreams are very personal because we have our own library of symbology. Okay. And so we kind of want to get an idea of like what a bear represents to us. What's our connection to a bear? How connected are you to a bear? In order to understand what that's about. The totem of a bear represents the mother, nourishment, stability, very strong foundational protection. So take a look at that very maternal, nourishing kind of energy that you're holding into, okay? Holding into your life as yourself, or maybe that's a part of us that needs to reemerge with ourselves at this time. Anael, Pearl, I'm so exhausted alone. PM me, please. So, Anael, please, you are so part of our family, and everybody, please send Anael love and let her know that she's not alone. Anael, you are not alone at all. You are part of this family. Number one, you're part of this family. Number two, I hope that today's lecture helped you expand the range of perception to understanding how much power you have to become connected to the system of light that is everything, and to become and remind yourself that you are one with all. Okay, so I really hope that that reminder is supporting to you. Okay. And Jason, again, thank you so much for that super chat. So generous, so amazing. Your super chats help me keep this channel free and supporting for you. And I had a question the other day about free resources. And I don't know if you guys know, but I have a lot of free resources and free events on my website that you guys can check out. And, you know, I mean, there's enough information on this channel alone and also the free resources that you can access. But I have a tab on my website named resources. And in there, I have, I think, 4 different 30-day meditation challenges where we access the emotional body. We're healing, we're learning alchemy, emotional alchemy, and, spiritual alchemy. We're also beginner meditation. We are learning how to work with energy. There's an entire challenge on energy work, and there's a self-healing also. So, I mean, there's a lot of free resources for you on the website, and I have many more coming up. I am in the process of writing, finalizing one of my books on the somatic roots of illnesses, so you can understand the spiritual anatomy of illnesses and the core root of that, including, your the chakra, and also how to move qigong in terms of energy pathways, how to clear illnesses with qigong movements. They have completely changed my life and helped me. So I'm going to have that out for you guys pretty soon, as well as a live dictionary on my website for you to search illnesses and grab that information so you can apply it to your life immediately. So that's coming soon. I have lots of exciting things coming soon, but we won't say everything right away. Vision, I just want to know, why did you choose Turkey and Greece for your tour? Is there some specific frequency around those places? There's so much frequency around those places that are very important. I mean, in reality, the entire world is important, because the world is as a living organism of consciousness. And we individually, we're connected to the earth grids, which is a crystalline earth grid as well. And that's another layer of the previous question about crystalline. How do we become more crystalline? Because again, when you connect to the field, you're connected to the planets, to the star systems, universes. We are all interconnected in that field. Greece and Turkey are energy points, and Neil Gower, who is the producer of Portal to Ascension and also the New Living Expo, are choosing these sacred sites, Egypt, going to Tulum and the pyramids, many different parts of the world, Peru, these very strong energy vortex points, where there's so much available energy for healing. So not only is it absolutely beautiful, these places, but energetically, these are energetic grids that we can connect and work with, okay? Because we have a lot of ancestral memory there. Almost everyone has ancestral memory in Turkey and Greece. Okay, so we have lots of deep roots there. And so this entire cruise, the focus of the cruise, even though the settings are very beautiful and sacred also, is the mystery schools, ancient mystery schools. We're going to be focused on teaching everything in the ancient mystery schools. So you guys are going to meet a lot of the beautiful speakers that bring this wisdom back to us as we connect back with these sacred lands in which we once did connect with this information in the ancient civilizations. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting, and I'm so happy to share that time and space with you guys. I hope you can come. Just remember that when you sign up for it, you say my name, Geraldine, because every time that someone signs up using my name, it allows me to participate, and also I can only go if a certain number of people are going, FYI. So that's also that. Laura Campbell signed up for this event a while back that had ended up out ended, so out the cost. Sad. Signed up for event a while back that ended. Oh, Laura, I don't understand. Let me know. Clarify that for me, okay? Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. I love you so much. It's such a joy to share with you once again. I hope you guys have an incredible, powerful, empowered week of love and harmony. And I will see you next weekend. All my love, all my love. I love you. Bye.